The following is a presentation of Playfly Sports Properties and Michigan State Sports Properties. Well, hello and good evening, everyone. It is Tuesday, September 26, 2023. Welcome to the only show hosted by Spartan Dawgs. And we're talking about Spartan Dawgs. Once again, this is Sparta MSU. If this is your first time watching the show, we want to welcome you. If this is not your first time, we want to thank you. I'm your host, Jason Strayhorn, along with my co-host, the boss, Otis Wiley Jehuu Caulcrick. Caulcrick is He's upset. And you guys want to know why? Because last week he said something. Do we have the clip of Jehuu?
Well, we know what he said. So he definitely challenged our subscribers and our followers that if we got to, was it 1,600?
On Instagram, 2,000 on Instagram.
2,000 on YouTube, that he would make an appearance, and lo and behold, we were short, and so he's on assignment. He will not be on today's show because you let him down.
He's protesting, which is correct. Chew is protesting because no one listened to him. He didn't think that you took him serious. So we'll get you back sometime. Hopefully we can get that clip because it was there. He wanted to make sure you guys knew what he said last week. But let us know, where you guys are watching from. Go to that chat where all the action is at right now. I see pancakes dropping already. Otis, man, look, had a big weekend this past weekend. It was homecoming. For the Spartan Athletic recap here, men's soccer went down in Indiana and had a 2-1 victory.
2-1 victory. No, it's actually at home. It was that Friday before the game.
It was here.
Yeah, that was homecoming Friday night, man. It was so parade. Like let's talk about the parade itself. Like the parade, I've seen it a few times, but then like see the full start to finish. I walked it with the Varsity S. Obviously at that night we get to hang out, meet George, hanging out with Johnny Spirit. I did ask him because like somebody told me when we went to Florida at the bowl game, people were joking on the team bus like, yo, Johnny rode his bike from Michigan to Orlando, Florida. And I was like, nah, I wasn't believing it. So I asked him that night, I said, hey, did you really ride your bike down to Capital One Bowl when we played Georgia? He was like, absolutely, I did. I was like, did you backpack or like, did you stop? He was like, I have a backpack on my on my bike. And he always carries around his bowling ball because he loves to bowl. So, little known fact of Johnny Spear. If you see him riding around, challenge to a game of bowl. But the homecoming parade, we started walking straight, and I didn't fully know the route until we started getting down to that corner of Abbott and got to Grand River, and we made the left.
Yeah,
and you go all the way to Grand River, and you go past the grand staff, stands, and then you hit that right on Farm Lane, and you continue going Farm Lane all the way to Shaw. And it was a lot of people, a lot of kids handing out candy and throwing out foam footballs. It was a good old time. Like the festivities were there. And then I went to go to men's soccer and check it out when we did take on Indiana, ranked matchup, and we ended up winning 2-1. So it was a good one. Good one.
Wow. That sounds like a good time to be able to go to the parade. Too bad I wasn't able to do that. But, got a little highlights here from the game, 2-1 over the Hoosiers of Indiana. Next game, which is going on right now.
Right now. We're up 1-0.
Yeah, up 1-0 against Oakland. Is that right?
Yep, against Oakland. Yeah.
Who's up?
So then you got next where you got volleyball, which now let's talk about volleyball because it's been a long time that we have not beat that team down the road in Ann Arbor. So our volleyball team goes down that same night and sweeps them. We talk about sweeps Michigan, which was a great. Do we have a little clip there? A little highlight there where you showed a recap of how they took on, that team down the road. But aggressive, man. This is good for our program. This is good for the future of Leah. We know we had Coach Johnson on the show, and she just told you that what she was trying to get our girls to do and compete. And to see that fight song beating that team down the road is nothing better. So congratulations to the women's volleyball team. And we did lose on the road to Illinois, but we also have them up. Next up is Friday against Northwestern. So tune in, follow them from afar, and just cheer them on.
Good stuff, man. Volleyball and then women's soccer update. Otis, you're on a roll.
I'm on the roll, huh? Well, we have I'm very close to the volleyball because, MJ is working with Playfly, working with us at the property. But to go down to Madison and take on the Badgers, get the 1-0, undefeated in big play. So, it's great to obviously talk about our program. But then you have next game up against Maryland, which I got a text from MJ saying, "Hey, it's faculty staff appreciation. I'd like to honor you for what I've done to give her an opportunity to work in this market in marketing and sales." And so I'll be doing some things on that Thursday night, cheering on our women's soccer team. And we had to bring on our head coach, obviously Jeff, but we got two more updates, and then we're gonna bring him on after that commercial. So let's talk about the next one real quick.
Yeah,
update.
Very interesting conversation coming up with head coach for women's soccer. I mean, a superstar when you talk about his background and what he's been able to do in such a short time here in East Lansing. So he's coming up in a minute. But basketball opens up preseason practice.
Yeah, man. Like I still think about seeing them play doing that grind week recap. Like that was something that you kind of pinch yourself to see all the Spartan greats that came out to support all the current guys in the pros. They were doing drills where they've been working. They've been working leading up to this. And so now that it's opened up for preseason practice, it's nothing new to them. They've been working and grinding all summer. So big expectations, big things that everyone's expecting from obviously Coach Izzo and the squad there. But every year they always expect Coach Izzo, right? So we got a long schedule ahead of us, and we're preseason. We're ranked top 5 here, so it's going to be a big thing for the squad to take on the shoulder, put it on the shoulders of the men's basketball team to carry us. So.
Yeah, a lot of high hopes for Michigan State basketball coming up this season. A lot of freshmen, a lot of high-flying, acrobatic dunks going to go down in Breslin and around the country when Michigan State basketball gets going here, coming up very soon. Stay tuned for Midnight Madness. That's coming up in a few weeks. So we're going to talk more about that. MSU hockey now ranked 9th in the preseason poll.
Man, huge turnaround from last year where we were unranked and outstanding season in year 1, and Coach Nightingale has brought the prominence back from MSU hockey's legend. From the respect and history of hockey. It's get your tickets because it's standing room only. It's back to where everyone says back in the day or back in my day, you can get it. It was the hottest ticket in town, and it is back to being the hottest ticket in town. So we got a good recruiting class. It's going to be great. Come out to Munn. They actually will start off next Friday, October 6th. So, come on out because that's really the only game that you're going to come out to because it's selling out. So Munn is about to be rocking. Of course, Sean, Munn will be rocking. So come on out.
Yeah, last year we did a game where we had a contest with a couple people that are in the chat. We're able to, get tickets and went out to eat with you and me and Chu and went to a game. Were you at that game?
I was. Remember we had that chicken sandwich. Yeah, we talked about the chicken sandwich. Jolly Pumpkin. Yeah, of course I was.
Shout out to Jolly Pumpkin. That chicken sandwich. And this is Sparta beverage. Yeah, so we're going to do some stuff like that again. That was a great event, being able to watch them play in Mun Ice Arena. We're going to see more of the same dominance this year. Probably even more exciting stuff to come for men's ice hockey from Michigan State. Back to those days they're talking about when Ron Mason was the coach.
Yeah.
You know, rest in peace, Ron Mason, the former athletic director and MSU men's hockey coach, national championship coach. So Nightingale is one of those guys. And speaking of one of those guys, we actually have one in the women's head soccer coach who will be on our show right here. This is Spartan MSU just after these messages from our friends over at IHOP.
Introducing new buttermilk biscuits in sweet and savory flavors, so everyone can have their perfect biscuit. Or add one on the side. Get a breakfast biscuit sandwich with a side for just $7 for a limited time.
Well, Otis, without further ado, let us bring on the man, the myth, the legend. You're talking about Jeff Hosler, MSU women's soccer head coach. Welcome to This is Sparta, Jeff.
Thanks so much, Jason. Far and above away, the best intro I've ever had. So I do appreciate that.
All right. Hey, I was about to say, I'm surprised you didn't come on and like, I'm not a myth.
First time I've been out with you guys in 30 seconds. Otis is already blowing me up.
Oh. Man, well, welcome, man. I appreciate you. I know you could be anywhere else, but you are here with us on a lovely Tuesday evening, man. And what you've done for obviously the women's soccer program in your year two can't go unnoticed. Clearly, I mean, I'm sure you hear it every time where you go, but just the stats, man. I think we're going to roll this. We gotta tell the fans and subscribers, obviously, bullets of like what you have accomplished in short time. So, one, you're the third women's head coach in history. You took over for Coach Saxton, so we're talking a long career of coaching. But the best part is you're local. You know, let's talk about being from here, like living and breathing East Lansing, but talk about being here and how that helps with this program now.
Yeah, no doubt. It's certainly an honor for me to be the head coach of the women's soccer program here. And as you touch on, you know, Joe Baum, Tom Saxton, you know, before me, just incredible people, great coaches, and just trying to do my best every single day. You know, I wake up every day, Otis, you know, and drive over here. I live in currently the neighborhood next to the one I grew up in. It's the same route that I took to Jennison Fieldhouse when we grew up with season tickets for basketball. And as they moved over to Breslin was season tickets for the family and for my dad's work. And drive by that Sparty statue every day before you turn into Jennison lot, man. It's really surreal, you know, and back then Old College Field, the soccer field went a different way, and DeMartin Stadium's, you know, new since those days. But to be able to be here, work at Michigan State, be in the athletic department, be the head coach is, I mean, it's truly a blessing, and I'm so honored to be the head coach.
Definitely. Talk about when the job obviously came open and available. Like, you're winning championships at Grand Valley. Like, you've put a body of work where it's very respected and where you've recruited very well over there on the west side of the state. Talk about when this job opportunity came about and how it was presented to you and how you went at it and, you know, interviewed to get the role. Yeah.
You know, for me, the success I had at Grand Valley State, and we won 3 national championships. We played in 2 other, you know, Final Fours championship games. By the time I got midway through my tenure at Grand Valley, I mean, I had several different opportunities. People reach out, you know, to coach Division I programs for sure. But even at the Power 5 level, to be a head coach at various schools. And every time Grand Valley did a great job supporting me. We love being in the Grand Rapids community. My wife actually is also from East Lansing here, although we didn't meet till 27 at a local establishment that will remain unnamed because I don't know if they have any deals here with you all.
I was afraid if Chew was here, he would have asked you for sure. Like, hey, what is
that? Tell us.
It's one that's been around since we were all in school. So, but I digress here. So we, you know, the conversations we had a lot as a family were Grand Valley was so good to me, so good to us. Grand Rapids was a great community. They wrapped their arms around me and our family when we first moved there. And really it was about like being picky. Like, it was really hard to leave Grand Valley, but obviously Michigan State's one of those programs that was always in the back of my mind. I mean, as I already alluded to, being from here, with both families being from here, the friends that I have in this community that are just the same as family, just not from the same blood. You know, to be able to be around them every day, to have them be part of this experience too. You know, you're always going to find a lot of those same people in the parking lot for tailgates or at the games or following online, and just tremendous support. And I felt like this could be a sleeping giant. There's a lot of talented soccer in the state of Michigan. There's a lot across the Midwest. Obviously, the brand that Michigan State is in athletics and as an institution, I felt could attract some of the best players from across the country. And, you know, we got off to a fast start, and that's obviously helped things. But I'm sure we'll get into all that.
You know, Jeff, you're talking about the beginning. Let's take it all the way back. You know, you obviously, we can get into your record at Grand Valley State, the Gilead record, and what you've done at Michigan State currently. But where did it start? Where did your love for soccer come from?
Man, Jason, I was one of those kids, just like I think most kids that grew up here in America. You were forced to play soccer when you were 4 or 5 or 6, you know, and that's where you first started. And I was like that. I played soccer, I played basketball, baseball. You know, I tried to play a little bit of football, but I was way too skinny and too slow. So I learned that pretty quick in middle school. So for me, like, I loved soccer. I loved basketball. I played both all the way through. I was a 2-sport athlete in college at a D3 school where I got my coaching career, Alma College, you know, 45 minutes up the road. Just all the lessons that you learn in the game, you know, the ability to deal with adversity, the resiliency, the connections you make, the memories you have, the hard work you put in, and how fulfilling that hard work can be when you get results. And in the same way as I talked about my family being from here, like I had a father that was very involved in the youth community. He probably coached, I think they estimate around 85 different youth teams during his lifetime. I'm the oldest of 4 kids, so our house was kind of the house everyone piled into. And I'm veering off a little bit on your question about.
No, that's good. No, that's good.
But like all of those connections is what kept bringing me back. You know, we'd go to my youngest sister's soccer practice and I'd help coach it. You know, a guy in the neighborhood recognized how much I enjoyed it. I started assistant coach of a U13 team when I was 12 years old. So I was involved in all of it. And if you want to like true grassroots story to all this, I mean, the very first thing, I was super fortunate. I played for Nick Archer, Michigan State alum. He's a Michigan State men's soccer national champion and the head coach, legendary coach at East Lansing High School. So I got to play for him. And then when I graduated college, he asked me to come over. He asked me, like, he was super sly. Okay. This is like at the beginning of the cell phone era, you know, like T9 text and all that. And this dude didn't call me or text me. He called my landline because I was living at home right after college. And he called my landline because he knew my mom would wake me up and told me to come get out to the soccer field. So I figured I'd knock it around or something. And next thing I know, he hands me a clipboard and a whistle and says, "You're coaching the freshman team at East Lansing." I'm like, okay, I guess so. So I guess that's what I'm doing now. And then the varsity basketball coach learned I was back and immediately had me coaching middle school basketball. So like my climb is pretty cool for anyone that's out there that's getting into coaching that has aspirations, or just how funny life works sometimes. Because I went from middle school basketball and freshman soccer to varsity basketball, varsity soccer assistant coach, to Division III college head coach, to Division II at Grand Valley head coach, to now here at Michigan State. So it's a true grassroots story every step of the way, and you don't hear those very often. So I think it's a good message, you know, that you don't have to start at the top. You can work your way there.
Man, you definitely did it brick by brick, like each level. There's an article out there that states like, hey, you were painting lines on the field to prepare for the game. You were coaching. Like, you went from, hey, other duties assigned, which is all the duties assigned. Right?
All the duties. That list was super long, and that was during my time at Alma College. Super grateful, and we had a great support staff. But you're not lying, Otis. I mean, there were on game days, cutting the grass sometimes, lining the field, taking a shower to meet with a recruit or 5 recruits, because we had to bring in, 15 to 20 players every year as part of the extension of the admissions office sometimes, and then go coach a game and then peel out of the parking lot, burning rubber to get back and coach some club where that's what was really paying the bills at the time. So it's helped grow the appreciation for everyone around you. That every job, every person's role is incredibly critical to the success of the whole program. And we try to preach that as a staff. Well, we certainly as a staff, but within our group. I think you talked about MJ and being around her a bit, and her expressing the specific gratitude to you and what you've been able to do for her. It's something, if I think you're around our team a lot, you'll see, the janitors, those doing the maintenance, the marketing team, all the people we're super incredibly thankful for.
Wow.
Yeah, Coach, you 2022 Big Ten Coach of the Year. This is year one. And obviously you absorb the current roster and then immediately come in and, not say you shake up the roster, but you try to get, some recruits in transfer portal and kind of make roster management. Coming into it, goals that you set for yourself, but also the program, was that on the goal for year one? Because typically some people come in and it's like, all right, we got a 3-year, 4-year plan. But I feel like knowing you came in, it's like, we got to change it. We got to go in. We are going to win championships. But year one to be Big Ten Coach of the Year and win the Big Ten championship. Talk about from when you took over the team to then getting to that monumental, like, first in school history. Just talk about year one going into now year two on how you kind of set that up for foundation-wise.
Yeah, so I think it was super important for people to understand, and in coaching, when you guys see coaches, it's not coach speak when you're talking about process. Like, we're very, very process driven, and you have to be patient to some degree. But at the same time, like, when I got this job and put together my staff and told them about how we're going to get to work, like, our expectation was to be the best team we could be every single day. We were going to pour everything we had into it, and that's our expectation, because if we're not doing that, how are we going to ask that of our student athletes? And to be honest with you, as much as like the methodology obviously has worked, such a big part of this is that these players, like, they opened their arms to us. They allowed our ideas to be pursued because they were willing to. They trusted us. It was almost like they had to have, because of the timeline, they'd have some blind trust in that we knew what we were doing. We shook up a lot of different things. While at the same time, the previous staff, while they're coming off a year that they didn't have a lot of results, they had done such a good job of setting a foundation for family and the way that you care, respect, and treat people. So we're able to step into that environment. Obviously, different pieces. We brought in a lot of players through the transfer portal because in our sport, you recruit players so early. You don't really see the fruits of your labor and recruiting until 2 years later because they commit so early in their high school careers or youth careers. So really, so much of this credit, I know you're trying to give it to me here, it belongs to these players for them trusting me, buying in, and then understanding how to work and allowing me to help them get where they needed to be on game days.
Coach, you just brought up in your sport that the players commit very early. What age is typical for a soccer woman to commit?
Yeah, so there is something called the early recruiting rule where you cannot contact anybody until June 15 prior of your junior year. That's when first phone calls can happen. That is basically because of women's soccer and women's lacrosse. And that's because players were committing all the way back as early as like 8th grade. I don't know how much you guys follow, but you remember like Damon Bailey at Indiana, like that whole story. Like, he committed as an 8th grader, and like how much there was in Sports Illustrated. It was on, sport. I mean, everyone knew about that story. That was starting to become fairly common ground in women's soccer, where 8th graders, I mean, there's some schools down in the South that had their entire recruiting classes done before any of those kids had a single day in the classroom their freshman year in high school. So it was getting out of control, and people recognize that. I mean, you don't know what that kid's going to be. You don't know how much they're going to grow. And obviously, girls mature a little bit faster than boys physically in terms of their height. So you have a better idea of what they're going to be. But you're still guessing. You're still throwing darts at a board at that time. So that was really put into place because of those two sports, women's lacrosse, women's soccer. And I think we're about 5 years in now where we can't start recruiting kids. But I got to tell you, like, our coaching staff on June 15, like, everyone that's permitted to make phone calls, like, we had a call list of 50 or more players because we're trying to get with all of the top 150, 200 players in the country, players that we believe can make an impact for us. So it happens early. Recruiting classes typically will start forming out, the majority of the top 25 programs in Power 5, which I believe we are, and have proven that now consistently in the last couple of years. You're rounding out probably 75-80% of your class before October 1st.
Wow. So, your record at Grand Valley, I mean, listen to this, everybody. 144, 12, and 6. In the Gilliac, you're 63, 2, and 2, which is, those are outstanding numbers from a coaching perspective. You did this prior to the NIL transfer portal era. As you got into Michigan State, this is becoming more robust. You talked a little bit about the transfer portal and your strategy there in the process for getting the team up to speed quickly. How has NIL, because we talk about this a lot with the major sports like football and basketball, and how has NIL affected your sport?
I think on some levels, it's largely affected it. There are players that across the country, we have 2 players that have Nike contracts through NIL. Women's soccer with a national team success that we've had with a strong American league with the NWSL and Americans playing overseas. There's really, highly recognizable names, that are playing in the sport. And just like all other sports, they're trying to find that next young player that's going to be a star when they're older and get them on contract early. And so, there are players out there that across the country have NIL deals anywhere from, $1,000 or exchange of food and things like that to as high as $50,000, $75,000 annually in our sport.
Wow, because we know about Messi and those guys. Those numbers in soccer can get crazy.
We're not talking NIL when we're talking Messi.
I know that.
Yeah.
Coach, let's talk about this year's team. You had some student athletes graduate last year. You brought in some new blood here, and you're off to a great start in the Big Ten play. Had some bouts with some ties, some draws, but talk about this season as you're getting prepared for Maryland on Thursday.
Yeah, really exciting group that we have here in 2023. We graduated some incredible players. Last year, we had, not only won the Big Ten, but we did undefeated and then went to the Big Ten tournament final also. So we had great team success, and with that comes, some individual accolades. So last year alone, we had the forward of the year in Lauren DeBow. We had the defender of the year in Ruby Diodati and the goalkeeper of the year in Lauren Kozel that all graduated, with 2 of them being drafted in NWSL by the Portland Thorns. So when you have players like that go off and graduate and take the next steps, we are one of 10 programs across the country because there's only 12 teams in NWSL and only 3 rounds in the draft. So only 36 players are being selected. So to have 2 of them, we were one of 10 programs across the country that had more than 1 player selected. So that tells you how special that group was individually. And for them to go off, we're super proud of them, super excited for them. And I think we're a program that will continue to produce those types of players. But in a lot of ways, we're a very different team, because of the personnel. And that's just the pros. We had some other big name players that were all conference Big Ten. And if they weren't recognized, were significant contributors on game day for us. So we have a roster of 31. We have 16 new faces on campus for this fall compared to last year, between transfers and a large 10-player freshman class. And so it took a little while for us to get going. I think, the meshing of personalities. We had various ages in our transfer group too. Some grad transfers, some kids that were now in their second year of college. And it hasn't been all smooth when you add that many new players into the mix. But I think what's really cool is a lot of those players that were very effective for us last year are now kind of in a more star role, and they deserve to be because they've worked incredibly hard at their craft. They're performing at a very high level. And these other players are now really starting to step up. So I'm thrilled with where we are right now. Obviously, there's a lot of work still to do. We're off this. I'm sure I'll be back pouring over film again and getting some additional ideas for our player meetings tomorrow. But I like where our group's at. Last week was obviously a massive, massive week for us to go on the road, to be on the road 5 consecutive days, to sleep in different hotels 5 days, and deal with all that travel to beat Minnesota on the road and score 3 goals against an opponent that has not conceded multiple goals in a match all year was big. And then to win on the road at Wisconsin on BTN, our 3rd nationally televised match of the year. You know, and I don't know if you guys know all these stats, but if you're stat people, here's a crazy one for you. Last time women's soccer beat Wisconsin was in 2007.
Wow.
And the last time we won at Wisconsin was in 1999. So that's how big and how difficult it is to knock down the Badgers and to do it on the road.
Well, hey,
Man.
we can add.
What I can tell you without having to make you work hard on the math is that clearly none of our players were even born or even a glint in mom and dad's eye at that point.
That's right.
Man.
No question about it.
Right.
Real quick before we get, I want to ask you about the expansion of the Big Ten that's coming into play next year. When you're talking about, because adding Washington, Oregon, UCLA, and USC, what is the outlook of soccer in those regions now as they come to the Big Ten?
Yeah, so the landscape in women's soccer across the country is, for the last decade or so, the ACC has been largely considered the strongest conference in women's soccer. And now this is the third year now where Big Ten's really been knocking in terms of analytics, statistics, non-conference records, head-to-head against common foes in those, ACC Big Ten matchups. The Big Ten actually had the highest winning percentage in non-conference play this year. So that obviously will bode well for us in terms of NCAA tournament selection for our conference. And when you're talking about being kind of 1A and 1B in terms of the top power conferences or top conferences in the country for soccer, and now you add in a Washington that just graduated and had 7 kids go pro, both domestically and overseas. And you have Oregon and the brand that Oregon brings across the board in all their sports. And then you have USC, who's won 2 national championships in women's soccer in the last 12 years, and UCLA, who just won the national championship last year. Man, I don't know if there's any debate anymore. I don't think there's any debate any longer. So I'm excited to welcome it. I'm always up for those challenges. I've got a little bit of that mentality that Izzo carries of the, anytime, anyone, anywhere. And those are schools that we were already looking to schedule non-conference games with before all this expansion happened. So we're excited to have them join the conference. It's going to make us all better and continue to elevate our profile.
Yeah. And Coach, I know we spent longer than what I told you from an interview standpoint, but I'm enjoying it clearly because it's a great conversation. But we always ask our guests, if they're obviously coaches, is how can our listeners, but also Spartan fans, support the program for you right now? And also, what do you need? Because this is going out to the masses, and we will always want to support our own and very support you, because clearly the success you have is just proof of we need to give more to your program. But tell us how we can support you.
Yeah, I mean, look, what really makes Michigan State special is the people, and we've got a really good thing going here. Season tickets is the first time we've been able to offer it this year. We were super excited to be able to offer that to our fans. Came with a really cool exclusive scarf. In soccer, scarves are the thing. You hold up, you pin on your wall, you hang over your door, whatever it is, with our mantra family across it. So that's an exclusive benefit of being a season ticket holder. And the other one, you got to get out to DeMartin Stadium. The environment there, the brand of football we play, it's super fun, super attractive. We keep the ball a lot. We're really dangerous. We score lots of goals. We're relentless in our pursuit of the ball defensively. It's fast-paced. It's high energy. And we got incredible individuals, and people that are involved in our program. So last year, we were 4th in the country in attendance last year, averaging over 2,000. 3 times we had over 3,000, which is more than capacity for the stands. So get out to DeMartin. Those are the biggest ways. When you see our players around campus, you see our players in the community, tell them that you're rooting for them, you're proud of them, you're following along, and we'll continue to grow this thing.
Oh, definitely. Well, I'll be there live and in color, man. But with the lights come on, man, it's a beautiful scene, man, especially on the banks of the Red Sea here.
I'm telling you,
we don't need no rain, right?
Yeah, it's when there's no rain. It's fall. You got the leaves about to change color. Jason's got this blank wall behind him. All he has to do is be a season ticket holder. We can get one of those scarves pinned up on that wall for him.
There we go.
Yeah.
Easy enough.
Got to do that. MJ, I remember seeing her and the rest of your team at the NIL signing situation with This is Sparta NIL Collective, sponsored by Tom Dieters. And she said, then you got to come to our game. So, look, I listen to her. She's very serious person and she's very focused. So, Otis has been doing it a lot. When I'm in town next time, I'm definitely going to come check you guys out. I mean, look, Jeff Hosler, it's been an outstanding interview with you. I know we took a little time longer, but hey, it didn't feel like it. Thank you for joining the show, man. Really cheering for you the rest of this season.
I appreciate it. It's my pleasure. Really enjoyed it myself. Love to be back on sometime. Go green.
Go white.
Go white.
MSU head women's soccer coach Jeff Hosler. I mean, that's an outstanding. Hey, man. Hey, anytime, anywhere, any place. Relentless pursuit of the ball, defense. I mean, I like that, man. How can you not?
Absolutely.
I don't even know. And did he say football? The brand of football we play?
Oh, it's football. Remember? It's overseas football. Yes, absolutely. I should have talked about we need to put up an activation or like get some footage of Chu trying to score on the goalkeeper or vice versa. Can we save a goal, right? So I feel like we're gonna get some video.
I'm holding the camera on that one. Fellas.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
You can dive. They're gonna make a fool out of us. So that's what we're gonna do.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Outstanding, man. Hey, everyone, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. If you haven't done so already, please do that. Football. There it is, JR Jr. Football. Don't forget to do that. And then we'll be back in a moment to break down the Maryland game that just happened last week after this message from our friends at SeatGeek.
SeatGeek is the ticketing app for fans like the High Five Strangers guy. Game-winning interception? First down? Just a nice, solid tackle. If you're in arm's length, you will be swapping skin with this extrovert. You see, he knows SeatGeek got him a great deal on tickets, so he can focus on what he does best, smacking palms. SeatGeek handles the tickets to sports, concerts, and more, so fans can fan.
Spartan fans can fan. High five it. Put them tickets up right now. I see the tickets, stacks of the tickets. That's the thing.
We forgot to even give love. It's National Pancake Day. Did anybody have pancakes this morning?
Today?
Today's National Pancake Day.
How did I miss that?
Yeah.
National Pancake Day.
I've had my fair share of it too. Them pancakes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You've been in that gym because you got to dance, man. And we're going to talk about that. You got to be light on your feet, man.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, we got to get into it. Maryland comes into Spartan Stadium in homecoming and beat the Spartans 31-9, Otis, but the game was much closer than the score indicates.
Yeah, man. I mean, we all know if you played the game of football, when you book a homecoming, if you're the opponent coming into the homecoming weekend on the road, it's a little bit of disrespect. I feel like that's always been where, like, all right, of course they think they can line us up on the schedule and get an easy win. And that's not the case. Clearly, the Big Ten is growing and it's more stronger every year. But we knew what Maryland was and who they were, experiencing last year and what they did to us. And so for this game, I mean, you talked about it straight. It was closer because we had opportunities to compete in this game and also win this game. Think about all the things that, once we got it going, some of the drop passes from the receivers that were in the breadbasket and it just wasn't going our way. But if you pull up those stats again, with Noah Kim and who we had, Kim's 18 for 32, 190 yards, but, one TD with those two interceptions, man, the one interception is really early on that drive where, you just kind of missed Trey Mosley on the timing standpoint because he was open in the beginning, but then you had a linebacker, safety, come out of the blue, like right on the periphery where it was probably on the blind spot and get an interception. And so just the tie, we just couldn't get it going fully consecutively with the series, right? Like you had some good things happen and then it was some bad. Like it just never could be stacking up against to getting there. That 4th and 1, that really brought some bad PTSD from last year of when you look when we're at the big house last year, we take a timeout and we proceed to, not check out and run the wrong play. And this one was like, man, I feel like if we knew we were going to get the push, should have definitely put some boot action and let Noah run it in, on a boot or something. Use his arm, use his legs, get him outside, because we right then and there was like that opportunity to respond to their drive and that touchdown, right? And we get stopped, and it just kind of kept that whole game was like that, where we did some good, did some bad, good, bad, and it just was bad outweighed the good. That's how it ended.
I mean, you brought it up. You said, there were some moments in the game that were questionable, and let's just call a spade right there. You're talking about the 4th and goal from the 1. Michigan State opts not to just take the points, which, look, you kind of love that aggressiveness. I think in hindsight, you might say just kick the field goal to get the 3 points and get out of there. But if you are going to run that play, for all the young offensive coordinators out there and offensive play callers, one of the worst plays for the guys down in the front, the guys that block, are those long, wide plays outside
zones. Yeah.
Just the toss, the outside zone. It's got to be a miss. If you're going wide, it's got to be a misdirection. We love that, like the boots and stuff that you brought up just now, or direct. I mean, we're talking with Lorenzo White and Jehuu as we were coming out of the stadium, and they're like, you got to go over the top, like Lorenzo White, you got to get, go right, put a foot down, get up and get over the top and use, we don't have that big back right now that's healthy, that can pound it up the middle. But I think, Nate Carter, he just, unless you have a canine type of back that's just blazing speed. I mean, he's documented in the 4.3 range, right, in the 40 at the combine. And he scored 2 touchdowns again this week. We'll talk about that later on. But that kind of player, you got to be direct, because that's what it's all about. Absolutely. Mano a mano, low man wins. You've seen that if you watched the Lions game yesterday. You saw a lot of that, those goal line situations. That's the gripe. And there were plays, though. Let's get off of that. There were a lot of plays, Otis, that could have been made. If you look at the stat sheet, and I don't know if we have all the stats ready to go here, for our main financial stat breakdown, but Michigan State outgains Maryland 376 yards of offense to 362. Maryland came in averaging well over 480 yards of offense. Tali Tagovailoa, Tua's little brother. Tua is the Miami Dolphins starting quarterback. Comes in averaging 375 yards through the air. Only had about 170 through the air against the Spartans. Yeah,
man. And I think to the element of, say, for their O coordinator took advantage of our young DBs from a standpoint of, getting some trips action. If you look at that one touchdown, where it's you got a nickel in Gross and Angelo, and then you got Mangum at the safety spot lined up on that 3rd slot receiver, and just I don't know if it's eyes or if it's getting over top, but you got to be able to look at those first 2 receivers running short routes. Like you look right here. Yes, there's a long gap, space between number 1 receiver and the number 2 slot receiver. But from the instance, you got Gross out here that can get anything coming outside. And clearly he's already 7 yards, 5-6 yards off the ball. So, if you play this, was there a reroute to slow that route down and to help Mangum to recognize that everything's short? This should easily be Gross under, Mangum over top, because both receivers run 5-yard ends, digs, right? Quick. That 3rd receiver is the only threat. And to be over top, if you're reading eyes on QB, reading that slot, those are the dream of a safety to go over top on that corner route and get an interception. And
rewind that one more time so we can play that, so people can see this one more time, slow it down a little bit so we can stop if that's possible here. We have the play. So you see the over route happen, right? You
see number 2, you see both receivers, outside receivers, trips left, technically trips right if you're out in the defensive side, snaps the ball, goes down, both receivers immediately go in. And for when I'm in safety, I'm like, hey, those 2 receivers are in. I'm allow the linebackers go ahead and carry that. We can live and fight another down. And I know it's loading, but we can live to fight another down from a standpoint of those 2 receivers going in. My deepest threat, Coach D would always say, get deepest of the deepest. Clearly, we're already in the red zone. So I don't need to go back further. I need to be up like heels on number 10, heels on the goal line. So when it comes, I can determine the speed of the route. He hits that corner route. I'm right on top on the back shoulder. Angelo should be under, just ready to get either a PBU, pass breakup, or an interception. Because if I wish we'd have had the clip, because clearly that's on our fault because we didn't give us timestamp and be able to cut these. So that's no knock on Tony L. But for us, if I'm looking at QB too, he didn't look us off. He's looking right at him, right? He's looking. And so that's an element of we'll learn, we'll get better, right? We'll learn, we'll get better. And that's just the element of how that day went, where it was elements of when we could have got off the field, could at least force it to 3 points. You end up getting a touchdown, 7 points, 6 points. So yeah, Coach B, when you think about this, Coach B, we talked about the quarterback, debacle where Noah didn't get it fully going, and then you brought in Hosler, and he had some goodness going, but then we're driving in, and it's a halfback screen, and what happens? Interception, right? And so we always talked about is it the timing? Is it the lineman selling the screen, or the running back? All three levels. I feel like there's just elements of just it's not clicking right now. And so when it's not clicking right now, what do you do, Stray? You got to go back to the drawing board. We got to get back in there. We got to go. Like this game should not set us back mentally. We have an opportunity to put a win on our win column, and we got to go back to the drawing board. And from a standpoint, these guys can't get down on themselves because we clearly could have won that game. And everybody, if you're watching, if you're a football, not bust, if you know you're in football, we could have easily won that game.
Yeah, like there's no doubt about it. Looking at the effort in that game. Let me just be very clear. Like there's people out there chattering that there wasn't enough holes open and running the ball. That's false. That's fundamental. That is absolutely false. Michigan State rushed the ball for over 100 yards in the game. Nate Carter had 19 carries for a net of 97 yards. He actually did gain 102 himself, but he had a loss of 5. But look, there were holes there. There was protection for the quarterbacks. There was some timing issues, as you were just describing, that from the quarterback to the running backs are, great passes and just did not catch the ball. And then there was other times, I was at practice today. Their coaches like, look, we had about 42 points that just didn't get hit. They were right there from the offensive side and some pick sixes that were clear. Guys getting hit in the chest with balls and dropping them. You can't do that and win ball games. And then to add insult to injury, obviously the 5 turnovers they talk about, the 5 with the interceptions and the fumbles, but really there's 6. And because there's a hidden turnover in the turnover on downs when it was 4th and goal and you don't get in. Those are opportunities, especially in the red zone, that you just cannot not capitalize on to win ball games. But I'm telling you, this team never quit. I did not see any of those signs which we're all looking for, right? We're looking for that with the outside noise that's going on in this program. That team played hard through the end of the ball game. And the practice today, Otis, they were practicing their asses off. They were running to the ball. They were running in and out of the weave. There was a lot of noise because, it's their first time going on the road. There's leadership on that staff. There's leadership inside that locker room as it stands. I just continue to pray for these guys to be able to show it and capitalize on these moments to get the first win they need after the news that they've had to go through and endure.
Yeah, absolutely, Stray. It's the element of blocking that noise out. And, at some point, the noise does get into the cracks of people on social media and, players are all on it, right? So clearly they see it. Clearly they're hearing it. But it's the element of, I kind of let's rewind back to when Coach D made us read this book as a team. Like, it's your ship. Like, it's an element of players got to lead this team. And the coaches are coaching. Maybe you blame it on the coaches, bad call plays, et cetera, et cetera. But all in all, it's really the players coming together and, hey, we have a long season to play. Like, it's only 2 losses, 2-2. All right, 500 right now. We have a long runway. Now, here's a true test of going on the road. And how do we battle test? This is a tough environment to play in. So how do we battle test? We prepare for this week. It's Iowa. It's not looking down this season. We have to control what we control. And, you know, like you said, praying for these guys because we've all been in these situations. As a player, we've been in these situations as Spartans in seasons. It could be worse, but we are at early in the season. Let's keep cheering on our guys and supporting. And we'll let the chips fall to what they may.
One of the things that I'm excited about, you know, going on the road for the first time is that defense travels, man. And this defense has been playing very, very good. Again, we talked about before what Maryland came in averaging before the game. And, you know, you're talking total offense, 480 yards, which was first in the Big Ten. You hold them to 362 yards total offense. Guys like Dylan Tatum, 11
tackles, 2-1. Show up, baby. Look, man. Hey, we know he hitting. You know, you ain't got to ask no questions about him. You know he coming up thumping. So that's an element of like these other guys. Like, hey, I'm gonna control what I can control as one player, and let's talk about demanding the excellence from the other 10, right? And there's other guys balling, but 2-1's out there. He's eating right now, and his energy is consistently at a high level to where you can see frustration a little bit too because no one wants to go out and lose. Like if you're playing this game to lose, clearly you shouldn't be on the field. Like these guys prepare for this to win the game. And I think there's an element of the unwavering support. There's people that are loyal, but there's unwavering support. And we got to get these guys some more support, vocalize it. I'm looking forward to going on the road. I mean, because I think it's getting away from campus, going out. It's us against the world mentality. We'll be able to take on the Hawkeyes on Saturday.
You know, you talked about, you know, Dylan Tatum. I want to give love to some other defensive back. One of them, you know, Charles Brantley was out in this game, injured, but Chance Rucker, the true freshman.
Hey, listen.
Played an
I feel like the Rucker name is
the
Rucker name. That Rucker name comes with some clout. Maybe you got CL Rucker out there. Hey, that boy was out there getting, man, like the entire game. Like we're talking competing the entire game. True freshman. And you know, you could tell Coach Barnett, Coach D, and Salgado, look, this guy is going to be a good one. Like, we got to make sure we keep him too, right? So.
Yeah. H-Town, baby. Houston. 6'1", 180-pound true freshman. I mean, it was like getting ridiculous. We were calling the game, and it's like constantly. Every time they saw 25, Tali Tagovailoa was like, I'm going at you. And that was game plan number one. When they saw Zero wasn't out there, they're going to his replacement. He stood very tall. Zion Young had a great game. You saw guys like Simeon Barrow and Derek Harmon. A lot of great penetration in the middle there, making it very uncomfortable for the quarterback, Tagovailoa.
Yeah, man. I think that's an element of, like you said, we're playing great D and we're playing great ball. It's like, let's put 4 quarters together. You know, that Washington took a lot out of us, clearly. But from the standpoint, we put 4 quarters together. And consistent, knowing that there's going to be adversity, players, hey, the other team's going to score, other team's going to, do what they do, but we got to control it. And defensive-wise, it's, hey, if you don't let them score, clearly we still stay in the game, right?
Absolutely, that's the deal. That's why defense travels. And I got to give love to guys. You know, they pay attention to this stuff. So I'm going to call them out. You know, guys like Malik Spencer who had 9 tackles. You know, from the safety position, that was great. Aaron Brule with 7, Angelo Gross. 6 tackles. Look, Cal Halliday was all over the field, but then the true freshman Jordan Hall. I mean, this is his first start. Jacoby Woodman didn't play in this game. This was his first start at Michigan State in Spartan Stadium for homecoming. Does not look like a true freshman at all.
Look like it's a vet. We already knew that coming in, that he had the body type, he had the mentality, but like the way he plays that this game is, like you said, it's like back in the day-esque of your Percy Snows of the world, man. Like that dude is on a mission every snap. And you also see him communicating too, where like
he knows what he's talking about.
Honestly,
you can't play linebacker and fake it out there, man. You got to know what's going on.
Absolutely, man. And so I just want these young guys, these young Kings, man, keep going, man. Keep pushing. I promise you, man, things are going to start clicking, and then everybody's going to come back out supporting. Like, don't worry about everybody else, man. Worry about the locker room. Worry about putting that productivity out there. Keep balling because that boy is eating. He's seeing the ball. He's eating that ball easily. And I think that's the element of keep that energy high level. People are going to come.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Got to get guys healthy. I saw them today. They were out there. That's one of the things, man. Like, this is not an easy game, and we know there's noise and all that. But like, we got to dig deep. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody, all hands on deck, because whatever the future holds is going to take care of itself. But you got to take care of what you can control, which is your mindset. Every one of the players that's able to play needs to do everything they can throughout the week to be able to get yourself ready to play the game. Remember, your body is your business. It's not a joke, man. It's not a game. And sometimes you don't feel like going to treatment, right? Sometimes you don't feel like it. It's hard. You got to get up earlier. You got to stay later and do all those things. You got to get cold and uncomfortable. But, man, it matters when Saturday comes around.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I'm sure you get this sometimes too, Stray. It's like, hey, you got any eligibility left? He'd be like, if I had eligibility, would I be talking to you right now? You feel me?
All the time.
My mom would like to be out there balling, man. But look, that's long gone, man. These boys got it, man. We just got to consistently support. Like, hey, when it's all high and mighty, we're 11-2. We're enjoying and supporting these guys, and we're like, they are great. As soon as we go down to some adversity, we lost 2 back-to-back. It's like, oh man, it's everybody pointing fingers. Well, sometimes
that's not the way it is.
Yeah, that's not the way it is, man. We should be that way. So let's turn that tide, man. Turn that mentality back into supporting. We'll be good.
That's right. It's a maturation process. This team is coming. They're close. I'm telling you, this is a great team, the good nucleus here of players. Coach Barnett says he's staying with Noah Kim as quarterback. Everybody they brought in some guys, with Caden Hauser coming in for a spark. And also we saw Sam Levitt get in the game. It was good for them to get in the ball game. Not a question at all. It shows how deep that quarterback room really is. But Noah Kim's going to be the starter when we go to Iowa City.
Yeah, man. You got like you said, you can't pull that plug that quick, man. Like, you see what he can do all leading up to spring ball, battling for the job, summertime, training camp, fall camp. Now here it's like, hey, first adversity was playing a top 10 team, and you playing Maryland. Like, let's consistently give him an opportunity to keep this going. So, first road test, like, we know he can throw a ball. Clearly, you give him time. We know he can throw it and launch it to the deep end for these guys to catch it, because there was a lot of drop balls. So, everyone looks at it where, hey, you miss a pass, but clearly, they don't really get on the receivers when they drop the ball, right? So, right. There's an element of it's a two-way street here where if both of those things are clicking, we see what he can do damage-wise. But I do want to see a little bit more quick decision-making on the standpoint of can't hold that rock that long, because, hey, sometimes you get a good protection in the pocket, but you got to think quicker, right? And I think that's an element that just comes with the pains and gains of progressing in the season. But we got to go out and have a strong showing this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, that's the difference when you see young quarterbacks. Sometimes they're waiting to get for a guy to come open versus throw a guy open. If you watch that back, that's that number 15 in Kansas City. Is that his number? That number 15 in KC? That's how to throw people open. I mean, I'm just saying, I don't know that position all that well. I just snapped the ball to him. But look,
I just want to go back. Can we bring back the fullback? Because clearly,
no, they ain't doing it no more.
I'm just talking about
it's not dead. The fullback is not.
We need some short. We need some short, like that 4th and 1.
You want that lead? You want the ISOs?
We need that lean. We need that lead back, run the fullback. Put Malik Carr back there. Give him a rock to get down there like low. And I mean, we got it. That's something that we'll have Mangum if he was healthy, right? So people don't understand. We're hurt. We're bruised right now on the depth chart. And Carter's carrying the load. So we need to bring some power football back to help this man get some holes created from a fullback standpoint. It's okay to go bring a fullback back.
Well, we have a clip from the game. We got a Noah Kim touchdown. Do we have that ready to go?
Just inside the 9-yard line. 94 yards on the ground now for Nate Carter. Noah Kim takes the snap back. Play fakes to Carter. Throws right side of the end zone. Caught for a touchdown. Tyrell Henry with a grab. Touchdown. Touchdown, MSU.
That's pure execution there by the offense. When you look at Noah Kim, max protection, no pressure on Noah Kim. Just shuffles to the side on his right after a little play action play, gets rid of the ball to a wide open Tyrell Henry.
Hey, that was clutch. That was legit, yo. Now look,
I try to, sometimes you don't hear me, but I'm cheering inside, right?
Oh, I know you are. I know you're being composed on the radio, which is crazy because no one's looking in besides this angle. But this is the same play that Maryland ran on us. Same exact play. Same exact play.
Same route combination.
Same route combination, corner. Like it's look, man, football ain't that hard, man, from a standpoint. And he threw a great ball. And Tyrell Henry, I'm looking to Tyrell Henry get more touches. Get him more out in space because he can go. And so let's get it going, man. Like you saw, that's where it could be. That can be on a consistent basis. Is that? And I'm excited, man, because I see the ceiling. I see it from a standpoint. We haven't even climbed it yet. So like say best color commentary you'll ever hear. It is. Now you got George here, and you out here just.
These things haven't gone bad just yet. Just with knock on some wood for me.
Absolutely.
But like I appreciate that, Art. Man, looking at what is in store for Michigan State right now. We're going to break down that Iowa game in the next show. I mean, Otis, look, there's been a lot of good things. I don't care, what the record might show, two losses in a row, but there was a lot of bright points in that game against Maryland. We can break this thing all the way down. We have, privately. There's a lot to be encouraged about going forward, and especially going on the road for this game against Iowa, right?
Oh, yeah. And it's always, I don't care who is on the roster on both schools, both teams, it is always a battle between Iowa and Michigan State. Like, it's
oh, man.
It is pound. Like, I remember when Iowa was on the docket, man, I would always look at how much weight are the running backs carrying? Because clearly I'm going to have to come up and hit. So there's times where, all right, I need to bulk up this week. I need to go hard, eat more, or I need to slim trim because I got a fast scat back. I mean, I had Sean Green, and we talked about
I was going to bring Sean Green up.
Listen, man, like I knew him monster, but I knew I had to come and hit. I had to come with it, and I had to be strategic because, like you said, it's a business decision on elements of, do I hit his thigh board? I remember hitting his thigh board, getting up little doozy, you know what I mean? Like seeing stars, and that was just one thigh board. But it's an element of this is a hard nose. That it's either Wisconsin lineman or Iowa lineman that you got to prepare for a battle because it is about to be a fight from start to finish. And they keep coming. They keep coming every play. So for this instance, I'm sure that Coach Barnett, Coach D, all the coaches we have to prepare for a tough battle. It's a hard-nosed game. Both teams are very vanilla from a standpoint. We got a little bit more pizzazz in the offense, but they're vanilla. You know what I mean? They do what they do, run that ball, and they play action. It's kind of simple, right? So for this, I'm looking forward to it. But being 12 and a half points underdog, like, I get it. We deserve that. We deserve that, clearly. Clearly we deserve that. But that's not a true testament to what we got out on our roster. So take that as that's bulletin-worthy motivation, fellas. Put it on the bulletin board. Let's go out there and let's shock the world here.
Absolutely. Kirk Ferentz, head coach of Iowa in his 98th year in Iowa City. Definitely going to not change his stripes against the Spartans. He's going to do the same thing he was doing in the 1800s when he faces Michigan State. I'm telling you, bring your lunch pail. It's going to be one. We're going to break that thing down on Thursday when hopefully we can get Chew. Please hit that like and subscribe button because Chew needs the followers and the subscribers. And so do we. We do too. But we're not going to say y'all not come on the show, but whatever. We just begging you. Please. Doesn't cost you a thing. Helps us a whole lot. Be sure to support. This is Sparta MSU's own Otis Wiley as he participates in Dancing for the Local Stars. As we can see here.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Otis.
I need some votes, man. I'm out here running extra sprints because my routine's 2 minutes and it's high, fast paced. Like I'm trying to get my full out, Iman Shumpert, winning the Dancing with the Stars. Like, it's quick, it's fast, and we got a lot to work on, but I'm looking forward to it. But please scan it, vote, really just votes. Because you win for votes, but then you got a couple of awards for best style and, best creativity and best costume. But, like, I'm trying to win. Like, I ain't doing this not to just sit there and participate because I'm putting in this work. So, but it's for a great cause. Carefree Medical, we're raising support, philanthropic efforts here. So, yeah, I'm getting it. I am getting it, Raven. I'm getting it. I'm out here doing this.
Yeah. If you guys can't tell, Otis is kind of competitive. He's not joking, right? He does want to win. He doesn't do things he don't want to win. Neither should anybody, but Otis has got it on a different level of competitiveness. And so help him out. Get on there, give him a vote.
I'm about to go practice in the basement after we wrap up. So
all right, man. Hey, so we'll put a bow on this one, man. Don't forget to get to our links in our social media. Go to the link tree there and go in our bios and then get some Sparta. This is Sparta merch. Go in there. I think we got, there it is right there. It's easy to do. Hit that, like, subscribe, get your merch, wine glasses, bottles, and the new hats, because it's fall out here. I'm right here in Play Fly headquarters, and it's fall. So by the time we come back around for next home game in a few weeks, you got to be ready. Got to get ready, and we want to see that. And I'm sure some of you may want tickets to the next few games that we have at home. So we're going to tie some of those ticket winning things about what you're wearing, the merch. We got to see some of that. We got to get our own too, Otis.
Yeah, we do. We do. I know. I got to do laundry.
I know, right? Got to do some laundry. No, appreciate everybody for watching, tuning in, appreciate Coach Hosler for joining us.
And that was a great interview, by the way.
That was a great interview.
Great interview, by the way. Great one.
Great guest. For Otis Wiley, I'm Jason Strayhorn. This is Sparta MSU. Have a good night. God bless. And go green.
Go white.
This is Sparta MSU as a combined presentation of Playfly Sports Properties and Michigan State Sports Properties. The show is produced by Tony LaBarbera, Tony Gustella, and Process Driven Consulting. Additional support is provided by Brendan Duravage. On-location technical support provided by Good Fruit Video. Be sure to follow our host Jason Strayhorn, Jehuu Caulcrick, and Otis Wiley on social media. To stay up to date with all the latest This is Sparta news, please like and subscribe by visiting our link tree and tell a friend to do the same. Thank you for your support, and as always, go green.